Good evening. You're tuning into AWANI Tonight with me, Saraya Mia. A number of taxation reform measures will be implemented next year to expand the country's revenue base. Among them, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim announced in Budget 2024 that the government is increasing the services tax from 6% to 8%. However, the Prime Minister said that in order not to burden the people, this increase does not include services such as food and beverages and telecommunications.
Maka sebagai langkah peningkatan mutu perkhidmatan dan bantuan kepada rakyat, Kerajaan Perpaduan bertanggungjawab meluaskan asas hasil. Mulai tahun depan, beberapa langkah reformasi percukaian akan dilaksanakan bagi meluaskan asas hasil negara. Dengan maksud mengelakkan daripada bebanan ditanggung oleh rakyat. Perimbangan ini sangat sukar tetapi terpaksa dilakukan untuk meningkatkan hasil, mengurangkan subsidi tapi tidak membebankan rakyat. Kerajaan bercadang untuk menaikkan kadar cukai perkhidmatan kepada 8% ketimbang 6% sekarang. Namun agar tidak membebankan rakyat, peningkatan ini tidak termasuk perkhidmatan seperti makanan dan minuman serta telekomunikasi. Kerajaan juga akan meluaskan skop perkhidmatan bercukai meliputi perkhidmatan logistik kekal 6% dan selainnya pembrokeran, penaja jaminan dan kelab-kelab karaoke.
Other than that, the government is also implementing a capital gains tax (CGT) for all expired shares that are unlisted in local companies. And the tax will be based on their clean profit at a rate of 10% beginning March 1st, 2024. The Prime Minister also said that the government is also formulating laws for the luxury goods tax from 5% to 10%. The government will restructure the Employee Provident Fund EPF member accounts to empower retirement savings. According to the Prime Minister, the EPF flexible account will be introduced as a new account allowed to be accessed at any time. Additionally, Anwar announced an increase in the monthly salary ceiling for the Social Security Organisation SOCSO contributions from 5,000 ringgit to 6,000 ringgit. He said this will increase cash interest at a rate of 20.2%, benefiting some 1.45 million workers and their dependents. The government will also increase its matching contribution limit under the EPF Saran to 500 ringgit per year and limited to 5,000 ringgit for life, while increasing its matching contribution limit under the EPF Suri to 300 ringgit per year limited to 3,000 ringgit for life. Beginning next year, the government will begin implementing targeted subsidies in phases. The Prime Minister says savings from this will be channeled towards increasing cash aid under the Rahmah Cash Donation Program from 8 billion to 10 billion ringgit.
Rebat bil elektrik sehingga RM40 sebulan kepada isi rumah miskin Tegar dengan peruntukan RM55 juta akan diperkenalkan untuk mengurangkan lagi beban walaupun kadar dan tarif elektrik tidak dinaikkan. Kerajaan juga bersetuju mengecualikan bayaran deposit akaun bil elektrik atas nama sendiri.
Anwar also announced that the temporary price controls will be lifted to enable the local market to function freely and ensure a sufficient supply of chicken and eggs. Meanwhile, logistics companies and certain groups will continue to enjoy subsidized diesel, while other users will have to pay a higher price as part of the government's restructuring of diesel subsidies. And here are other highlights from Budget 2024.
The maximum rate for the Rahmah cash aid will be increased from 3,100 ringgit to 3,700 ringgit. Meanwhile, the minimum amount for the youth will also be increased from 350 ringgit to 500 ringgit. The government has also agreed to expand the cash aid to 700,000 recipients who will receive 100 ringgit a month for 12 months. Bankruptcy amnesty will be extended next year to young people aged 40 and under who have debts not exceeding 200,000 ringgit. This was an expansion of the second chance policy that automatically discharged bankrupts under the age of 40 and with debts of no more than 50,000 ringgit announced in Budget 2023. Putrajaya will introduce a scheme to encourage the use of electric vehicles for individuals earning 120,000 ringgit and below. Under the scheme, rebates of up to 2,500 ringgit will be provided. There will also be an income tax exemption of up to 2,500 ringgit for 4 years for those who install EV charging ports. The government plans to reduce the 25% entertainment tax for performances held in Kuala Lumpur. It proposed that local artists be exempt from paying entertainment tax for their live shows, while for international artists, they will be charged a 10% entertainment tax. In addition, theme parks and recreational parks will only be charged a 5% tax.
Now to discuss about the first impressions of the Madani budget. We have on the line tonight Benedict Wirasina, Research Director of Bait Al-Amanah. Thank you so much, Benedict, for joining us on AWANI tonight. I want to get your initial impressions of Budget 2024. What were the key measures outlined for you?
I think I have a positive view of this budget. A few aspects that really was exciting was the government's commitment to an open economy. I think what really surprised us was the program on Malaysia's visa liberalization plan, which is, for example, facilitating the approval of employment pass for investors in strategic key sectors, increasing the ease of visa on arrival, and also relaxing the conditions for the MM2H program. I think these moves are really exciting because it increases investment activity and Malaysia's attractiveness. Look, Malaysia has the ecosystem, but we need the right policies to attract greater investment and also tourism activity. Not only that, something that we have supported for a really long time and it's implemented now, will be implemented in 2024, is the long-term social visit pass for international students. We've seen Malaysia as a talent hub for the best brains of the global south and the developing world, especially for Muslim countries. But we have never seen a strategy to retain these best brains who do their masters, do their PhD in Malaysia. And this is a form of brain gain to overcome the brain drain issue that we have. In fact, this move will also boost our higher education sector, the attractiveness of our private higher education institutions, because international students want to know that they have a possibility of staying on to gain job opportunities or probably experience before going back to their respective countries. So I think this is a really great move. On this, the second thing that I think a lot of people are talking about is the commitment to the market economy and market dynamics. Now, the removal of price ceiling on eggs and chicken, I know it's controversial, but we have supported this removal of price ceilings for a long time. It's because this allows market dynamics to play its role in regulating demand and supply. And rightfully pointed out by the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, is that it will ensure supply of eggs and chicken in the long run. And this definitely addressed the issue of shortages of eggs and chicken when there was a price ceiling. Instead, what is being done to control the cost of living is supply-side strategies to ensure that food security is maintained. For example, the allocations to optimize land use, increase crop, and also livestock yields. One more thing I just want to point out as an overview is there is a good balance of short-term and long-term goals as an overview. One thing we see, for example, is the education sector, which is which gets the largest allocation every year. In the short term, there's a trust fund for underprivileged students, for poor students. Also, in the long term, sometimes something that we have pushed for is that the government is allocating 100 million ringgit allocation for holistic remedial measures to overcome learning losses during the COVID-19 pandemic. I think this is really a long-term goal that needs to be addressed. It's not just about short-term measures to ensure access to education, but it's also long-term measures to ensure that those who missed out on classes for whatever reason during the COVID-19 pandemic, that remedial measures are provided to them so that they do not lose out in the long term.
Yes, aside from what you've mentioned just now, what do you make of the move for the government to increase the services tax to 8%, except for the food and telecommunications?
So I guess this move definitely stirred a lot of controversy, especially on social media. In my opinion, I think, first of all, it's a wise move to exempt F&B and telecommunications because these are essential services, and increasing taxation on them will lead to adverse impact. However, I see this move to raise SST from 6 to 8%, services tax, sorry. I see it as a desperate move to raise revenue in a rather unsustainable and insignificant manner. A 2% raise actually will not contribute that much to revenue. And unfortunately,
I'm so sorry, Ben, but we're running out of time right now. So we're going for a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
This is Malaysia's biggest street dance competition.
4 pasukan hebat, satu pentas luar biasa.
A special guest judge, Zizan Rosa. Jadi kita akan singkirkan kumpulan.
It's not easy working with him. This is battleground. Kita kena ada challenge.
Pasukan manakah yang akan menempa kejayaan?
Saya nak lagi. I need more.
Battleground Malaysia, Jumaat 10 malam di saluran berikut dan Astro Go.
Israel has warned the residents of Gaza City in the northern region to relocate to the south within the next 24 hours. This comes as Israeli forces gather for an anticipated ground offensive in the area. The United Nations, however, has said it is impossible for Palestinians to move to the south of Gaza in 24 hours. The UN has called on Israel to withdraw the order, arguing it's impossible for Palestinians to fully comply and warning of devastating humanitarian consequences. Hamas took at least 150 people as hostages into Gaza during its attack on Israel at the weekend that killed 1,300 people. Meanwhile, more than 1,400 people have been killed in Gaza since Israel launched airstrikes, according to the Palestinian health officials. The bombardment comes amid a total blockade, with essential supplies such as fuel, food, and water running out in Gaza. Israel says it won't lift the restrictions unless Hamas frees all hostages. South Korea says it believes a large number of North Korean defectors in China have been forcibly returned to the north this week. Seoul denounced the move, saying repatriation against will is a violation of international norm. Unification Ministry spokesperson Koo Byung-sum said it appears true that many North Korean defectors in 3 northeastern Chinese provinces have been repatriated. Human rights groups claim that as many as 600 North Koreans have been sent back. It warned that the defectors, mostly women, could face imprisonment, sexual violence, or even death once back in the north. According to the United Nations, it is estimated that some 2,000 North Koreans are being held in China for crossing the border without permission. That's all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Saraya Mia, and we'll see you again. Voice kali ini udah